Trump issued a huge warning to China and North Korea, and now he's about to make good on it. The world has suffered 2 world wars so far, and thankfully the tyrannical dictators that started the messes both times were put down by those, including the United States, who stood on the side of justice. The second time around there were some serious advancements in wartime technologies and weapons, and the United States caused some serious devastation to one Asian city in retaliation for their attack. The reasons for war are usually simple: a credible threat to the lives of those who inhabit a particular country. It's time to bring out the guns when all diplomatic options have been exhausted. Sometimes it's hard to tell when the diplomatic options have been exhausted because your enemy might be sneaky, or duplicitous in some way, and a country has to try and sort out fact from fiction. And sometimes they come right out in the open and announce their intentions, as North Korea has. It doesn't get much more plain than American bastards would be not very happy with this gift sent on the July 4th anniversary. America absolutely must stand up and protect itself, or generations to come will be reading their history books in another language, wondering why we kept quiet so long. President Trump has decided that he's going to start his offensive by pressuring the United States trade partners into cutting off their dealings with the tiny dictatorship, in hopes that will further sway their actions. Just because you saw it on social media doesn't mean it's not serious stuff. The president has to resort to means other than the traditional media because of their terrible bias, but rest assured, the man means business. Via The Guardian. The U.S. has ramped up pressure on North Korea after Tuesday's successful intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, test, making a show of force off the Korean peninsula and calling for a broad international effort to hamper the secretive nation's nuclear weapons program. The U.S. president's attacks on North Korea's most important ally are likely to add to tensions at a UN Security Council meeting on the incident, due to be held at 3 p.m. New York time, 1900 GMT, which was called by Washington, Tokyo, and Seoul. China has already called for restraint from all sides, after joining diplomatic forces with Russia to suggest that North Korea suspend its missile program in return for a moratorium on large-scale U.S. and South Korean military exercises. The U.S. Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, earlier said any country that supported Pyongyang, hosted workers sending hard currency remittances or failed to implement United Nations sanctions was aiding and abetting a dangerous regime. Testing an ICBM represents a new escalation of the threat to the United States, our allies and partners, the region, and the world. All nations should publicly demonstrate to North Korea that there are consequences to their pursuit of nuclear weapons, he said in a statement. Kim delivered his own message on Wednesday, with the state Korean Central News Agency, KCNA, quoting him as saying, "American bastards would be not very happy with this gift sent on the July 4th anniversary." The news agency claimed the North Korean missile was capable of carrying a large, heavy nuclear warhead that could survive re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Kim was quoted as saying the North's long confrontation with Washington had entered the final stage and that Pyongyang would not put its nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles up for negotiation unless the U.S. hostile policy and nuclear threats come to an end completely. A report in its state media said Kim urged his scientists to frequently send big and small gift packages to the Yankees. Analysis by Japan and South Korea has supported the account given by North Korea's Academy of Defense Science, which said the missile reached an altitude of 1,741 miles, 2,802 kilometers, and flew 580 miles. The U.S. initially described it as an intermediate-range missile but now concedes it was an ICBM. North Koreans have celebrated the ICBM launch in the capital, Pyongyang. A 38-year-old Pyongyang resident named Ri Song-gil said his country can attack anywhere in the world. He added, "Now, the time when the U.S. could threaten the world with nuclear weapons has passed away." Kim Hyok, 27, said the launch was extremely delightful news, adding that North Korea will march forward along our own way despite international sanctions. David Wright, a U.S.-based missile expert, estimated that the highly lofted missile could have a possible maximum range of 4,160 miles, which could put Alaska in its range if fired at a normal trajectory. Hamish de Breton Gordon, a former commanding officer of the British Armed Forces Joint Chemical Biological Radiological Nuclear Regiment, said that in capability of missile terms and delivery, it is a major step up and they seem to be making progress week on week. Questions remain about whether the North can miniaturize a nuclear weapon to fit a missile nosecone, or if it has mastered the technology needed for it to survive re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Some experts believe the North already has the ability to mount warheads on shorter-range missiles that can strike South Korea and Japan, home to dozens of U.S. military bases and about 80,000 U.S. troops. Jeffrey Lewis, an expert on nuclear non-proliferation, said the U.S. may have to accept that North Korea was close to crossing the red line of developing a nuclear weapon that can threaten parts of the U.S. The window for negotiating denuclearization is closed, Lewis said. The big point is that we have to accept North Korea with a nuclear-armed ICBM. If the point is that we need to treat them like they're 100% ready and willing to engage in a nuclear conflict with us, then I'd have to agree that it's exactly what we should do. The United States can't be too careful and wait so long we're caught unprepared. The US and others are attempting to show restraint in the face of this tiny monster with no self-control, but that won't last forever. You mess with the bull and you will get the horns. As far as the tyrannical leader's words toward the Yankees, don't plan on us sending any small packages in return, we're not familiar with those. I guess that's more a North Korean thing.